You guys, welcome back to my channel, Jesus Wants You. I'm Nikki Pratt. It is so very late and I am so very tired and exhausted. These days have been flying by. It's getting close to me getting ready to go back to work. Tomorrow is a holiday, Valentine's Day, my anniversary tomorrow. Do I look excited? Well, you know I can't hide it. I'm just saying. Anywho. Alright. Let me put my phone on vibrate. Okay. This is domestic violence, part 6. The mistake. It is no mistake that you are here with me now. I'm going to move forward. Because it is Valentine's Day by the time this video upload, because it is exactly 11:22 where I am right now. By the time this video upload, it will be Valentine's Day. So I kind of incorporated something. I hope it works out. I'm tired. That plays a part in it. So we shall see. Okay. Moving right along. All right. So in part 5, I'm going to sum it up a bit. Just a little bit. If you hadn't seen it, go back and watch it. So part 5 was horrible. It was dangerous. Situations. My life was threatened. Bad choices was made. With the exception of finally leaving. That wasn't a bad choice. So, here goes. Part 6. So I was living with my mom for about 6 months. I had my girls with me. I had in my mind I wasn't going back to Robert's house, together or not. It was our house, but I wasn't going back there with him, okay? I actually met another guy. His name was Richard. We went out a couple of times. I actually liked him. I felt I was moving forward with my life, but Robert found out I was staying with my mom. He started stalking me, following me. Everywhere I looked and turned, there he was. Oh yeah. He would call me constantly. I wouldn't answer. So he saw that didn't work. He knew I was going to church. He knew where my church was. I was in the choir. So one day I'm at choir practice. It was the tenor and bass turn to sing. And I kind of heard this familiar voice. And when I turned around, guess who had joined the choir? Robert. Oh yeah, the abuser joined the choir. We had a performance that Sunday, so my church, a lot of my dad's side of the family was there. When they looked in that choir stand and saw who was standing in that choir stand, they flipped out. They flipped out. They were cracking up because the boy couldn't sing a lick. He couldn't sing tenor, maybe 10 or 5 or 10 miles down the road, but he couldn't sing a lick. But he was up there. Why? Because he knew that I was in the choir, and anything that he thought was going to get to me, that's what he wanted to do. So that's how abusers would do sometimes. They would do whatever it takes to get that control back. Persistence is the key with them. Okay, so now he was going to church. So I'm like, well, maybe he's changed. He knew also that I had met somebody new. He beefed up his game. He ran my prospect, Richard, off. Okay. Richard had decided one day that he wanted to go ahead and start a relationship with me. Okay. He tries to call me, but couldn't reach me. So I had a friend down the street. Richard asked her why I wasn't answering the phone. And she told him she didn't know. I had the phone turned off because Robert was there visiting with the girls. So I told him he could only stay for 10 minutes. But, of course, he stayed longer than that. Why I turned the phone off? Because I kind of felt that Richard would call while he was there. Of course, that's what happened. So my friend Wanda rang my doorbell and said, "Hey, Richard has been calling you. You haven't been answering." I said, "Well, the phone was off because this idiot is here visiting with the kids." And she said, "Well, he's here." I said, "Here where?" "He's out here. He wants to talk to you." So I managed to get out of the door without Robert seeing me. I was in the middle of washing my hair, so I had a towel over my head. So Richard said, "So that's your kid's daddy?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Why you didn't answer the phone?" I told him I was washing my hair and I didn't hear the phone, which sort of was the truth. So I turned around and saw Robert standing in the door. Dang. So I looked at Richard and told him, "Look, I'm at my mom's house. I don't want any troubles. Can you leave and I'll call you? As soon as he gets done visiting through with the girls, I will call you." He said, "Hell no. Why, I'm not worried about him. Screw him." And shows me the biggest gun I had ever seen. Danger. Can somebody say danger? Wasn't that a song? Well, that man right there, he was ready to put it down. And he was not scared. I convinced him to leave. Why not Robert leave? Why I convinced him to leave? Why didn't I convince Robert to leave? He was the quackhead. He was the abuser. But no. I let the good one go away. And he was mad. Long story short, Robert wasn't happy either. But he didn't want to mess up his good boy, choir boy image. Also, to add what he had to be mad at, I sent the other one home. And not him. What was he going to be mad at? I didn't send him home. Robert continued his pursuit. I went back. Yep, I went back. Moved back into the house. He was good for 2 weeks. He started asking me if I had slept with Richard over and over again. I said no, because I didn't. The more I told him no, in his mind, I did. Until months later, he went to church with me, but he still asked over and over. He just couldn't shake it. He had to know. But basically what he wanted to know, he knew it would hurt him. He just wanted to hear what he wanted to hear. That's all it was. That's all it was. So, anyway, with that said, he had me. Why was he worried? I lost a prospect. Richard was a better pick and a better prospect. But one Sunday, Robert and I, the kids, went to church. I was tired, inside mentally, tired of being controlled by him, tired of wondering when he was going to hit me. Why? The night before church, he sat me in a chair, put the kids to bed, and asked me over and over, beating his fist on the chair around my head, screaming to the top of his lungs, asking me over and over, did I sleep with Richard? He was crying and acting like a real nutcase. His emotions was everywhere. I was scared. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was crying, telling him to stop. He was scratching me, squeezing, choking me all night long. It went on for hours. Finally, he let me go. He told me it wasn't over. We went to church the next morning. I'll never forget this day. I wore a red dress. Same color I got on right now. The church was awesome. Yep, went to worship Jesus and back home with Little Satan Jr. I had to fold clothes. I made up in my mind I was leaving him. I was going to tell him the mistake. This is where the mistake came in. Robert asked me what was wrong. I told him everything. I didn't want to be with him. He hadn't changed. He was still going to beat me. I didn't want my kids in that again. I'm moving on. I don't want you. The whole 9 yards. And he said, okay. He folds up his arms like this, walks off, shrugs his shoulder, and I was like, wow, that's funny. He just walks right off. Walk right off. Hold on just a second. I gotta pause this. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Okay. So anyway, he shrugged his shoulders, folded up his arms. I thought he walked off. He stood up. I stood up, and I was like, yeah, I did it. I told him. I'm leaving him. That's it. And I turned around, and I looked at him, and he turned around. I thought he had walked off. He turned back around. He turned into gentle and meek to giant and mad. He grabbed me by my neck and threw me into the wall, picked me up, body slammed me into the sectional sofa, beating my head with his fist, choking me, picks me up, throws me to the floor, saying, you gonna leave me now after all I have done for you? I took you out of poverty? Poverty? Yeah, he went that far. I made your body what it is today? What? Yeah, he said that. He said, I did all of this. I helped you, and this is the thanks that I get? He was trying to kill me that day. I had seen angry Robert, but I had never seen this particular Robert. He kicked me with all his might, over and over, until my body would spin around like a rag doll in a circle. He kicked me just that hard. He was beating me, kicking me as if he had nothing to lose. He walked off and came back and started hitting my head against the floor repeatedly, as many times as he could. It seemed like it went on for hours. Finally, he stopped. He picked me up and put me in the bed, laid down with me, and said, now, you see what you made me do? You see what you made me do? I was so mad inside, I was calling the cops. But I had to get away. I told him that I needed some water, went in the kitchen, sneaked my keys, went out the back door, started up the car, hurried, backed the car out of the driveway, went to the payphone, called the cops. They came over, locked him up. He was kicking and cursing. I had called my sister. She called the pastor of the church. And I told him, He brought over other guys of the church, moved my stuff out. I went to my cousin's apartment. I stayed out with that cousin for about 2 to 4 months. I moved out into my own apartment. Stayed away from him. Richard was back in my life. He moved in with me after 3 months of me being in the apartment. We were a couple. Robert was a distant dream. I was moving on. So I thought. Robert still tried to stay in the picture somehow and tried to break me and Richard's relationship up. Anything he could try to do, he needed to see the kids, whatever it was, he wanted to break it up. It didn't work. After 5 months of dating Richard, we did break up. Why? Wasn't because of Robert, though. It was because he worked 3 jobs. At the time, there was hardly any time for me, and we just decided, we broke up on good terms. We just decided we had to let it go. It just wasn't time. So we called it quits. He moved out. Robert found out about it and started sending money, flowers, etc. I ignored him. I was away from him for a year. He then pulled a fast one. He had a family member to ask if I can meet him at my favorite restaurant, my favorite Mexican restaurant. I love Mexican food, by the way. Okay, so I did. I met him at the restaurant. Robert proposed to me at this favorite restaurant. He was shaking. I was so caught off guard. He got on the floor on that one knee, asked me to marry him. Well, Nikki, did you say yes? Like a dummy, I said yes. I did. He proposed in March. We got married in August. August 31st. Oh yeah, he couldn't wait. He had to hurry up and marry me. I don't know if he thought Richard was going to come back in the picture or what it was. But like a dummy, I accepted. Married him in August 31st, 1999. Now, before I even go a little further, you ever heard of that saying, pictures tell 1,000 words? Look how one of my wedding pictures came out. Look at this. Look at my face. Look at that fake smile. I'm smiling like I don't know what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. Take the picture. Let's get this over with. Pictures tell 1,000 words. This is just one of them. But this was one that got messed up. But I'm just saying. Okay. The wedding was huge. It was huge. It was so huge. The cameraman had to back all the way up to the back of the church just to get everybody in there. And you could barely see all these people. Yeah. And this me here, you'll figure that out in a few minutes, what I'm doing up there. This was before the wedding. It's a big secret. I'll tell you in a minute. But yeah, pictures tell 1,000 words. I went back and looked at that. I was like, you can see it in my face. What was I thinking? That's what the picture was saying. I don't know if I want to do this. Just take the picture and get it over with. That's what it felt like. But the picture that I showed you guys, where I'm sitting in a booth, a sound booth, because I'm all geared up, I chose to sing at my own wedding. Okay? So, they were looking for me to come down the aisle Instead, I'm up in this little sound booth here. Nobody knows I'm up there. And I told the guy that was playing the piano to play the wedding march as if I'm going to come down the aisle and open the doors, do the whole 9 yards. And I'm going to wait about a good 2 minutes before I even start singing. But about 2 minutes, I want the music for my song to play. What song did you sing, Nikki? Whitney Houston, I Believe in You and Me. Mind you, see, it was some things that happened that morning that was warning me, don't do it, don't do it. The morning of the wedding, a pit bull that was rabies infested that my mom had told me that was in the neighborhood happened to be outside that morning before I went and got my hair done. The dog was outside, turned to come at me. I felt his paw on my bottom. I screamed so loud and lost my voice. Oh yeah, lost my voice. I was supposed to sing that day. And I prayed. I was kicking and screaming and fussing at Satan and speaking words. But a miracle happened. The wedding was a mistake. But God does answer prayers. Because it sounded like a lark coming down that aisle. Hold on a minute. So, you know how I like to tell the story and just bring you in. I'm bringing you in a bit. So anyway, I'm supposed to come down the aisle. I come down the balcony, down the stairs, singing in my wedding gown, down the aisle, singing I Believe in You and Me by Whitney Houston. My dad and Robert was crying like babies. Nobody in the church knew that I was going to sing. But let me paint this picture for you a little bit. You ever heard that other saying when people say, I wish I could have been there and been a fly on the wall. Well, I wish you could have been there too and been a fly on the wall. Because while I was singing that song, if somebody would have intervened just a little bit and was singing that song telling me, don't do it, don't do it. But no. DJ, I had to find out the hard way. So, you got to get the other one. Hold on a second, I'm going to pause it again. Is it on? It went like this. I believe in you and me. I believe that we will be in love eternally. Well, as far as I can see, you will always be the one for me. Oh, yes, you will. And I believe in dreams again. I believe that love will never end. And like the river flies, the sea I was lost. Now I'm free, 'cause I believe in you and me. I will never leave your side. I will never hurt your pride. When all the chips are down, see, I will always be around, just to be right where you are. You know I love you, boy. I would never leave you out. I will always let you in, boy, to places no one's ever been. Deep inside, just you see that I believe in you and me. Now, this is where y'all should have been when I said, maybe I'm a fool. You should have said, sure was, for doing what I'm doing. I'll be the fool forever. If I thought I would stay with you together, y'all should have been there on the wall, like a fly on the wall, telling me that I was a fool. A real fool. To think that I could marry somebody that was abusing me. And he did just that. But I went right on down that aisle, singing this song, all pretty. And I'm singing it not doing any justice now because I ain't sung in a long time. But I'm just saying, now I'm free. And somebody should have said, you only free in Jesus. Fool, leave that church. Leave that church. Don't marry that man. DJ, you could, she's starting the song over. Sorry about that, y'all. But I just had to give you a whim of what I wish would have happened. I wish somebody was there singing that on the sidelines like a referee. Don't do it. Don't do it. Child, you ain't free. You a fool. You sure is a fool. Don't marry him. Nigga, put it down. Put the mic down. Drop the mic. Nobody was there. I sung the song. The wedding was beautiful. Nobody warned me. Anywho. So, I married the nut. I married him. After our week-long honeymoon in Cancun, Robert had a job offer in Dallas. Supervisor position, making good money. We moved, rented out the house, headed west. Well, 3 months after being in Dallas, I became pregnant. Oh yeah, this would have been baby number 4. And I guess what I was, I figured I was married to him now. Surely he's not going to try to make me have an abortion like he tried in the past. Surely not. Surely he wouldn't do that. But he didn't talk to me for 2 weeks. He made me get an abortion. And I'm going to say it again. For the video time's sake, he made me get an abortion. He had his friend's girlfriend to take me. Oh yeah. Made me. The control got worse. He paid all the bills. I got paid. I got $20. I've gotten paid, but I get $20 out of my check for the week. I worked further than he did. He worked only 7 minutes away. It would take me an hour and a half sometimes to get to work. But I got $20 and had to eat off the Wendy's 99-cent menu. I found out that he loaned $175 to one of his friends. When I questioned him about it, he said, well, he said he would give it back. And I said, but wife gets $20. I looked further in the checkbook to find Robert had been eating on his lunch breaks at Bennigan's, Hooters, different steakhouses, big name restaurants. Me? I'm eating at the 99-cent Wendy's menu. $100 or more a pop he was spending at these restaurants. I said, so wait, you eat at big name restaurants and I eat at the Wendy's 99-cent menu. Every day I need money and you give me $20. So I'm mad. Okay. I was mad at this point. He was basically like, well, I'm a manager and I have to do that. Sometimes I have to take out my employees. And I said, well, I'm your wife and I need money too. I contribute to this household. They don't. So I sat down, drew up this little plan on how the money was going to be distributed, paying bills 50-50, how much money was going to be shared to make this situation even. You know, because see, that's what a husband and wife supposed to do. You're supposed to work together on these type things. Well, he wasn't having it. He took a black Sharpie marker, put a big X on it, balled the paper up, and put it in the trash. So, again, I was pissed. I was mad. I said, this is not fair. I'm tired of you handing out money to me as if I'm a child. I'm a female with all sorts of needs. I need money and you're not my daddy. I said that. He snapped. He beat me, told me to take my blank back to Louisiana. Same formality. He went in the bedroom, went to sleep, left the house. I called the police. The police asked where he was, and I said in the bedroom, sleep. They said, wait, how long ago did this happen? I said about 10 minutes ago. And the cop said, well, is he on drugs? I said, no, that's natural. They told him to come out of the room. He burst out the room. They drew for their guns. He almost got shot that night. Robert cussed and fussed, but to jail he went. The friend later, the one that borrowed the $175, called me, had the audacity to call me and said that he needed me to get Robert out of jail because he can't miss work. I said, huh. Well, I was the one who put him there. So no, I won't be getting him out. And you can tell him to keep his hands to himself, but I won't be getting him out of jail. So then his mother calls me, and she had always knew that her son was abusive and she had been on my side until we moved away and he could no longer give her money every time she asked. So then I became the enemy. Okay? So she calls and says, why is Maine in jail? His name is Robert, but she calls him Maine. I never did because I didn't like it. So I told her, and she gonna ask me, well, what did you do? As if I had did something to deserve to be beaten. What did I do? What kind of question was that? So, long story short, I got off the phone with her. Meanwhile, Robert had to, he had to bail out with $1,800 to get out of jail. And that $1,800 turned into probation for 3 months, community service, anger management class, over $5,000 spent with an attorney. So, he kept a grudge with me for 2 years. Brought it up all the time, never let it go. So he had built up anger in him because he was always mad. Well, we moved from Flower Mound, Texas to Louisville. Huge house. He was even more controlling and even meaner. So far, about a month, I started putting Zoloft, the medication Zoloft, the antidepressant. Yeah, I started putting that medication in his Dr. Pepper, in his food, crushed it up, put it in his food and his drinks. Don't worry. His sister and my brother-in-law knew all about it. And she knew how her brother was because they had to stop him from hitting me several times, to the point to where sometimes she would be crying. But ladies, please don't ever, you hear me saying this, and I'm telling you this, remember I said the title of this video is called The Mistake. Okay, don't ever do that. Don't. It's bad. I mean, Zoloft wasn't nothing to kill him. It did make him okay, but don't ever do that. And further I go, I'm going to tell you why don't do it. Yes, it worked. He was nicer. He was sending me sweet nothing text messages. I had gotten his sister a job at the dermatologist's office with me where I worked. I would show her the text, and we would both crack up at all the little sweet and nice things that he would say. The Zoloft was working. But Robert found out about it. He actually didn't get upset. Maybe it was because his sister and brother-in-law knew about it. I don't know. But he looked at me and said, don't ever do it again. Now, I'm going to tell you again, ladies, don't ever do it. Because that could have went all sorts of ways. He could have blew up. Thought that I was trying to poison him with rat poison or something. So, but the main thing you want to do is make a plan safely. Get out. Don't drug them. Don't drug them. So, after 8 months, his sister and my brother-in-law moved away. And they moved back to Louisiana. Why? Because his sister was tired of her brother arguing with me, fighting with me, and they left on some other issues. So it was him and I and the kids. So that same year, I had to drive to Shreveport again to sing at a wedding. I left him with the girls. I went for the wedding for that Saturday, headed back to Dallas at 6:45 that morning. I made it to Louisville, Texas. At about 9:30 or 10 o'clock that morning, the girls told me that they were hungry, hadn't eaten since the day before what I had bought them. So they told me that Robert was gone all night and he actually had just came home. I went outside to touch the car. The car was smoking hot. I went looking in his car for evidence. Robert always left evidence. I looked under the seat. There was a receipt from Burger King. He had just got Burger King, ate it before he came home, and didn't get the kids anything. So, nothing for the girls. Well, he controlled all the money. He wouldn't get up to give me any. I didn't have any. So I called, who? I called Richard. Yeah. Was it the wrong thing to do? Well, at that time, it was the only person at that time I knew that was going to give me money. My mom always told me she ain't having money. Always. And she wasn't going to wire it anyway. The first thing she would have said, it costs too much. Alright? So, I called the ex-boyfriend, had him to wire me some money. I went to Tom Thumb, got the money, went grocery shopping, came home, cooked for the girls. When I came home, he asked me where I got the money from. I told him from the wedding, knowing that the money that I had gotten from the wedding, I spent on gas and shoes and other items that I needed to prepare for the wedding. So, and money coming back. So, he gave me money to go grocery shopping again. He told me he was going to clean up the bedroom while I was gone. Well, remember, I called the ex for money, right? I left the phone card at home that I had used to call long distance. He found it. I'm putting up grocery in the middle of getting ready to fry fish. He calls me to the room and shows me the card, asks me why I had the card. Of course, I lied and made up a lie. 30 minutes later, he calls me into the living room. I had just dropped the fish in the skillet. He tells the girls to go in their rooms. He turned their TV up real loud. He came back in the living room. He said he called the phone card, the 800 number. The lady gave him the number that I had last called. So he called it. Richard answers, and him and Richard gets into it on the phone. Richard tells him, "You don't need to be calling me. If you would take care of your family, she wouldn't have to call me." Yeah. Well, needless to say, it was all she wrote. There was no explaining. He body slammed me to the floor, rammed my head in the floor so many times, swung me around the fireplace where my head just didn't miss it. I yelled out to the girls to call 911. One of them called. I didn't even know if they even heard me because the TV was up so loud. I had bruises, thumbprints on my neck. He burst my lip, bruises in my chest, on my arm. My head was banging in severe pain. Note, now, Robert has a problem with female cops. He thinks nothing of them, and he always said if he ever had an encounter with one, he would mess them up, and they wasn't going to touch him. But guess who showed up at the door when the police got there? The female cop. Now, he had went to jail the year prior and was on probation. A female cop shows up. Great. I let her in. She said that a small child called 911 and says that the daddy was beating my mommy. So now I'm scared to talk. This female cop was here with no backup. Normally they come with somebody else, but she was by herself. Robert said that he would make me pay because he couldn't afford to go back to jail if another cop's called out. So I walked off in the kitchen. She talking all loud, wasn't catching me looking at her doing this. You know, like on TV, you trying to warn somebody and I'm twitching, I'm doing everything but twinkle my nose like Bewitched. She wasn't listening. She wasn't looking at my facial expressions. Nothing. None of it worked. So she leaves after he said, oh, he was just arguing. That's what he told her. Oh, we were just arguing. We just had a little squabble. So she left. So when she left, another knock comes out of the blue. I felt relief because I thought maybe the cop did get the message. Somebody else was at the door. No, it was my friend Shalandra. Immediately, she saw that I had a burst lip. The cop didn't see it, though. She says, oh my God, you have blood coming out of your ear. I didn't know that either. She told me to get the cops back out there, so I did. The female and a male cop came. Same female cop came up to me with an attitude, asking me why did I lie. I explained to her everything that I just told you guys. I've been twitching everything but my nose. And I explained to her that he didn't like female cops and the whole 9 yards. And I had to show them bruises and everything. And I told her that he was crazy and what he said he was going to do. They sent out 2 more cops, male and female officers. They took pictures. Robert had left. We didn't even know. So the cops told me that he was going to jail this time for a long time and was going to lose his job. When he comes back, they said, call us. That's what they told me. So I did. They made him get on some clothes and took him to jail. He was on probation. I had to move out of the house, lost money. I moved to Dallas in the apartment complex where my dad lived. He got out of jail. I was able to save lots of money. That incident, I had a concussion, blood coming out of my ear, bruises, etc. Could have been worse. I had a restraining order. Didn't work. Didn't work. He had the cops to escort him to my apartment where I lived, got his clothes, so now he knew where I lived. After that restraining order, after he had come and got his clothes, he knew where I lived. That restraining order was a dream, a distant dream. He, while I was away one day at counseling, coerced the girls to open the door. My dad was there with him, but my dad had walked over to his apartment. He searched my apartment and found $2,600. And he left. He did not answer his phone, never did call back. I didn't see him again until the day of court. He sabotaged my car the night before court day. And I called myself staying up all night to make sure that wouldn't happen. But it did. But to his surprise, I was able to borrow my uncle's car. And I showed up anyway. And when he saw me, his mouth hit the floor. Oh yeah, but the whole time, it was miserable. Because I had a concussion. I was in clinical depression. I had no sleep. I filed for divorce. And, with the help of crime victims compensation. I'm going to tell you guys this real quick because this video has been 46 minutes long. But crimes victims compensation, if you guys don't know about it, if you have been abused, you don't know about it, it is very important. You fill out these forms. They will pay for you to relocate. They will pay your doctor bills. They will pay wherever you move to up to 3 months of your apartment or rent. Wherever you stay, they stay up to there. They pay up to 3 months on that. They pay for grocery. They pay for your tow truck. They pay, not tow truck, I'm sorry, rental truck. They pay for a lot of stuff. To sum it all up, I think I had got a total of $12,000. $12,000 from the Victims Compensation Fund. So please do utilize it. Utilize it. It will help you. That money can help you make your grand escape. Hopefully he's in jail where you're able to do so, like the blessing that I had, that helped me. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I am so tired. My back is like aching and throbbing. Please don't hold that singing against me. I haven't seen since last October. But if Brenda was listening, she'll know, yeah, she got to make everybody feel like they're there. Yeah. So, anywho, see you guys, not tomorrow. I know I've been saying that, but it's been a lot going on. The devil is mad because I'm doing these videos. But I got to keep on pushing. So, I'll see you Monday. Good night.